Hello, everybody. Welcome back. It's JudiciousFire, and I am here on the Android server. I'm not visible right now because, quite frankly, I'm not a tech person. I had everything running through iOS, including the OBS overlay system. I'll figure that out pretty soon. So you're just hearing my disembodied voice. Sorry if that's troublesome. It'll be worked out within a few days. I've just created an account on Android. To be more specific, this is an account that was created back in early 2014. I began playing Castle Clash on the Android server when I first got my first tablet, old school Samsung tablet, and I was always so ticked off that in Bingo Blast, the iOS server would receive more revitalized crest set pieces than the Android server. And I only played on Android for a very short period of time. It was around May of 2014 I switched over to iOS. This account has been dormant that entire time. Now I've logged back in over the years, continued a building upgrade here or there, played for a few minutes. But over the last 2 days, I've revitalized this account. I went from 30,000 might up to now 411,735 and plenty more to go. I also pushed through some of the major obstacles in this game. I'd like to show you some of the progress I made on Android and show you some of my Android account. This is brand new in terms of the heroes that have been acquired. I left this account before Evolution was introduced in the game. I am guesstimating the total approximation, but I'm going to say somewhere around that Santa Boom time in Castle Clash. And then they started to introduce Evolution, and I was on iOS when that was unfolding. Right now, we have an account that I dedicated my time, effort, and energy over the last couple of days just to maxing buildings, just to doing dungeon progress, and just to doing Here Be Monsters progress. Those were the three things that I thought were, for me as a player, exciting and something that I could, really enjoy revisiting. There are things I've already done on iOS, but I thought, with the team here on Android and just kind of getting what I get, not being picky and choosy about traits and talents and everything, would I be able to do it? And so we'll look at those three aspects. Before we jump over to that, I also established a guild. Now, please don't fault me for the fact that the guild is named after me. I had to come up with a guild name when I first established 2 or 3 days ago when I first logged back into this account and said, hey, I'm going to give this thing a second life. I had to put a name in there. As soon as I come up with 10 name erasers, I'll change that guild name. So it is a more inclusive guild name. It's only a temp guild name. If you're interested in joining the guild, that'll be the guild name until I get 10 name erasers. Please come on by, knock on the door, ring the bell if you're on Android. I am hoping that we could attract players who are okay with making the 20,000 shard donation per day, because it's really essential that we get the guild turf system going and get that up. And if you're also okay with making sentinel donations each day and trying to get our sentinels up. So those are the only two things that I'm really focused on in terms of a guild. This is currently a non-competitive guild. This is about having fun, having player fun, discussing the game, and I think at this point, really focusing on trying to do well with the guild turf and getting that up. So 20,000 shards, decent might, like 200,000 and above would be great, and upgrading the sentinels. Let's take a look at the three things that I've been working on. First thing I worked on was making dungeon progress, and I got the full 870 flames and did so in about an hour's time. And did so using and this is a pay account. It was when it was established, and I had a Minotaur Chieftain back in 2014 when that bad boy first was introduced into the game. And I came back to it 2 days ago, and I said, I'm going to obliterate the dungeons. I put everything into Minnow and blasted through each of the dungeon series and only had to repeat one dungeon in Insane Dungeon 8 in order to get the 3 flame. I'll show you how I did it, and I'll show you my Minnow build. Now, we're not going for perfect. We're not min-maxing. I took what I could get. I was thankful for it. There are, and many players will disagree with me, but when I logged into like the Clashers Day stuff, there were hundreds of gold books. There was breakthrough rocks. It was enough to get Destiny level of his companion heroes up high enough that I could boost him. And I gave him a 9 nimble for really high dodge. And I gave him a pet where I placed dodge. I only spent gems, and I think it was about maybe 1750 gems on putting dodge on one pet. And that was it. And I said, I'm going to use this combo to blast through the dungeons. On his crest, I have a Wicked Armor. They're giving away level 10 insignias in Floating Isle. I had like 50 Floating Isle powders from this stuff. So, and again, players may disagree with me, but they are giving away a ton of stuff in this game, and it didn't used to be that way. Hyper Strength, I wouldn't necessarily recommend it on the guy for what I'm trying to do, but I took what I could get. I got a 5. I said, heck yeah, I'll do that. And I got his Destiny level up relatively high to 36. So let's see how he does in the dungeons. And before we go there, I have to have an Atlanta core because I know that the Gunslinger Copters are going to shut down Minnow. So I also prioritized my Atlanta core. These 2 heroes that I have on base, AC with a Revive and a Revitalize, both pretty low level, and a very high level Minnow who's dodged out as best as I can. A couple of spells. I got a Moxie Flag. I decided to spend some of the shards on a Moxie Flag, and let's go into the dungeons, and let's do the hardest one. At least it's always been the hardest one for me as a player, and that's been Insane Dungeon 8-1. There's just so many beasts and so many Anubises and Ashuras. So we just want to lead out the Love Doves, let the Skellies proc. I probably got a bad drop from Atlanta Core. I have to do this until there are no more Gunslinger Copters. If there are any more Gunslinger Copters remaining, and there still is one, then you got to try it again. You leave any Gunny Copters, and Minnow's not going to work. Or if he does work, it's going to be a very inefficient process. So you want to make sure that you've got as many Gunny Copters done as possible. I think I got all the Gunslinger Copters. Okay, and I just dropped Minnow. Okay, well, this is a Minnow. The traits are all messed up. 10 ways from Sunday. This guy's got like health, he's got some accuracy, he's got some crit, he's got like level 1 stuff, but he's got a really high dodge pet. And with those gems, I gave that pet a couple of thousand dodge. And with his nimble and all of that working, he's at just about 10,000 dodge. And that's what you need to be invulnerable in this game mode. And as you see, he's not the Minnow that many of us are used to, where he ends up one-shotting a base. He's going to take 10 skill activations, take a dozen skill activations, but in a minute and what's going to be about a minute and 40 seconds left on the clock, the man has now just soloed, essentially, Insane Dungeon 8-1. I did that all the way up to 8-10, no problem whatsoever. The point of this is, with 1,700 gems and a Dread Drake, you can do this same thing. You put a little bit of dodge on one of the pets. You put that pet on Dread Drake. Atlantic Core to get rid of the Gunslinger Copters. Drop your DD. Bingo. All of a sudden you have 3 flames and you have 870 flames in total. Let's skip on to the second part. This one was the really fun one for me. To start at HBM A, just as old school as they get, where the little troops used to get stuck behind monovolts and you time out. To start at HBM A and then to work my way all the way up to HBM AK and do so in about a 24-hour period, that was a real thrill. And I did so by already having knowledge of how to beat HBM AK and having done so with relatively good times on my iOS account. So, to the best of my ability, having the heroes that I had available, I tried to recreate my HBM AK team. Because I figured, if it's good enough for the hardest game mode in HBM, then I'm going to be able to beat the other ones. And that was accurate. And flew through everything all the way up to about AH. And then around AH, my buildings, having not yet reached, maximum capacity, maximum level, still pretty low level in certain areas, it started to get a little dicey. And I had to keep rerunning it to get through. Flew through AJ relatively easily and did so with the classic AJ team of Ripper, Walla, Cosmo, Dove. I think I used Jumbear. He would not be a classic, but he was certainly an addition. And I think I used Laz as well. And maybe swapped Rosaline in there once or twice. But got through that relatively simply as well. And now on to AK. And for AK, I'm going to have higher breakthrough level heroes. I can't go into AK with just my shorts on and breakthrough level, 20 heroes. I'm going to get vaporized. And my buildings have to reach max capacity, max level before they can withstand that kind of punishment. So I'm coming for you, HBM AK, but it will take a couple of days at this particular pace that I'm going. Let's take a look at the last part. I think back in maybe 3 or 4 days ago is when I established this guild. So I was able to do, a pretty decent amount of upgrading and get these towers up. They're like 6,000 and 8,000, and I had the 20,000 shards a day to give. So I was able to do those. These sentinels are all like level 1 sentinels, okay? They have nothing. They're toast the first time they look at a bad guy. But not too bad. Already up at level 5, and hopefully going to be able to do some decent progress. I'll probably get crushed. You see, as soon as my sentinels look at the bad guys, they don't even need to come into contact with the bad guys. The bad guys just simply shout at them, just yell disparities toward them, and they shrivel and wilt. But the towers are doing well. And if I remember correctly from the first time I rolled through this on iOS, maybe the first 10 levels of Guild Turf are primarily dictated by the level of your towers. It seems like your towers do most of the work. So just to wrap up this quick visit to Android, again, if you're interested, hey, apply. We're trying to get that guild turf up there. I'd love to be up in the top 5. I am in no way, in terms of mic gaining, in terms of guild production, guild activity, I'm not trying to go and max anything out. The iOS account is my main account, and I'm not going for like a 2 million mite account here. I'm just trying to have fun, and that's what this guild is about. It's oriented towards having fun in a different platform or server that gives us a different dimension of Castle Clash, and lets some of the old school players who have played on different servers, let them get a second taste of those old events that still bring back great memories, like that slog through the dungeons. That was one heck of a night and one heck of a pot of coffee. And that's the way I look at it. So I'd love to see it on Android. I'd love to see it apply. Please do so. Happy clashing. And I will check you on multiple videos as I look at the progress here on Android. And of course, the majority of videos coming from my main account on iOS. Happy clashing, everybody, and be safe out there. All right, bye-bye.